Good evening. Hey, this is Greg Nelson here with the Hard Knock State. I just wanted to come to you with the daily sales recap. And hopefully, if you've been following along and any of the ongoing live streams I've been doing, we've been talking about phones all week long. And hopefully, you found success. And I'm sure you have if you have been taking notes and implementing the material that you've learned. With the phone sales mastery that's coming up, it's a half day free live virtual workshop this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's February 11th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And go to thehardknockstate.com for your tickets. But it's a free event. You do have the option to upgrade for $19.95. But we've been talking phones all week long, how to get good on mastering phone selling strategies and Grant Cardone's phone selling strategies in particular. I just was used to be like many of you, just an average sales producer for the uh, first half part of my selling career, thereabouts, and I never really understood that there's uh, deep theories and processes for everything we do in sales. I understood there was a sales process, and I worked for a couple different organizations, and each one of them had a slightly different process. So I got that, but I didn't understand there was a true foundation, a true process for the actual steps to the sale, and there's a process for each individual step. And then I didn't know that there was a process for working the phones and a process for all the different types of phone calls that we encounter, the inbound phone call, the outbound phone call, calling back unsold traffic, calling back sold traffic, calling orphaned owners, or even what an orphaned owner was. And so it wasn't until I got extremely good at studying this material that I'm teaching you that my sales started to increase. And shortly after that, I became a went from an average sales producer to a top sales producer in my organization. Shortly after that, I got placed in a sales training and coaching management role, and did that for the past 6 years. But it recently, I got involved with Grant Cardone. I became a Grant Cardone licensee, and I've been certified by his team to teach you all of Grant's proven, successful sales, 10x sales coaching and training curriculum. And I got to tell you, what Grant has put together over the past 35, 40 years throughout his whole career, and he keeps adding to it, it keeps getting updated, it remains fresh, but it is so simple. And so simple to pick up. There's no there's no trickery to it, right? There's no manipulation with it. It's transparent, it's ethical, but most importantly, it's ethical. And it was about 10, maybe close to 10 years ago when I really started diving into Grant's material through his audiobooks and his online webinars, and then getting signed on with Cardone University. And, if you don't know who Grant Cardone is, you're probably just now getting into business or sales, or if you've been in sales for a while, you just haven't really been paying attention, or you've been living under a rock. And I don't mean any respect by that, but it's hard not to know who the man is. But with that, and that kind of fame that Grant has, that's all sales, sales training, sales coaching, and in addition to his what he's done with real estate. Grant owns, actually, he has his hands in 16 different privately held companies, and that most of them do well within hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue. He also holds over $7 billion of real estate assets through his company, Cardone Capital. He's been the star on the TV show Undercover Billionaire Season 2 and The Turnaround King. He's also written the author of many different books and business publications, but he's the best-selling author of books such as the 10x Rule, the only difference between failure and success, and that took the business world by storm when that book came out. But it was because of all of how well this works and how simple it is that I decided to go into teaching his material. I can't think of a an easier way to get people to understand that they could truly live a successful life through a rewarding career just by following the blueprint that Grant's laid out. Hey, you don't build a building, you don't build a house, you don't build any kind of structure without a plan or a blueprint of how you're going to do that. And it's the same with your selling career. Okay. In fact, our selling career, if you're in sales or you're thinking about getting into sales, our industry is so unique. It's the only industry that once you learn the skill, the trade of selling, you can switch industry, go from one industry to another industry, and you can't do that with any other trade out there or any other skill that you're going to learn. For instance, a doctor, a medical doctor, or a dentist or a chiropractor, somebody who's gone through all that schooling in order to become that, they cannot take that information they've learned and transfer it over to the construction industry. They can't transfer it to the automotive industry. They can't transfer it into any other industry. But sales, you can. Sales, you can go from construction to automotive to insurance to healthcare, and wherever there's a product or a service being sold, there's a salesperson behind it. So there is an absolute need for what you do. And understanding that what you do is very important, and understanding your role as a sales professional, that right there could turn the corner and turn over the new leaf for you to where you could start gaining the confidence, believing in yourself and believing in your product. Hey, I promise you, if you're in sales right now and you're selling something you don't believe in, you're never going to be as good as finding that right product or service that you do believe in and selling that. But again, we've been talking phones, and again, February 10th, excuse me, February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. This Saturday is uh, the Phone Sales Mastery half day live virtual workshop. Again, it's a free workshop. We're going to teach you cold calling. We're going to teach you how to maximize the most powerful tool in your business, which to this day is still the telephone. We're going to teach you how to handle the inbound sales call. We're going to teach you how to handle an outbound sales call, whether it's cold calling. And if it is cold calling, we're going to teach you prospecting. We're going to teach you how to build a list. We're going to give you the scripts. And we're going to talk about scripts a little later in the show here, but we're going to give you all that. Plus, you're going to get a free digital download 10x Sales Professional course, follow along and study at home workbook for phone sales mastery. Plus, in addition to that, for free, you're going to get access to my private Facebook sales professional networking group. Upgrade only for $19.95, and you'll get 30 days of my free 30 days Revenue Rocket sales group coaching. That's one free coaching session each week for the next 4 weeks. And each session is 45 minutes where we go over one of Grant's 10x sales professional courses. He has 9 of them out there, and you'll get the workbooks with that as well. If you just bought that package alone on my website, it's $395. In addition to everything you're going to get, the phone sales mastery workshop, the workbooks, the free access to the sales professional networking group, the 30 days of Revenue Rocket sales group coaching. But I'm also going to give you 2 of my classy contract pens. These are a nice fine tip. They're a metal ballpoint pen. It's got a nice weight to them, and with a stylus at the end. And there's nothing that makes the closing process more enjoyable and that will leave a lasting impression than a good quality pen. So you're going to get the pens with free shipping. You're going to get everything for $19.95. Uh, so with making the phone calls, let's talk about what a gatekeeper is, because we've been talking a little bit. And if you were tuned in this morning, we were talking about finished up with a cold call. So let's talk about what happens when you're making that cold call and you hit the gatekeeper. First of all, what is a gatekeeper? Well, the gatekeeper is the decision maker's guard. They stand in between the executive and the world and protect them from wasting time. Plain and simple. Okay. Wasting time hearing sales pitches, hearing charity cases. The goal is to let the important people do the important work and get the important things done. So we need to get these people, the gatekeepers, we need to get them on our side. Okay. Uh, the gatekeeper's job is not to prevent you from getting to the decision maker. Okay, the gatekeeper's job is to make sure that you're not a waste of time. That's their job. Okay, so stop hating on these people or that are blocking you from getting to the decision maker or the gatekeeper. Okay, because they're just doing what they're paid to do. Okay, rule number one about the gatekeeper, they're not keeping you away from your goals and dreams. They're not keeping you from being able to uh, do what you want to accomplish. Okay. They're trying to prevent people from wasting the time of the God, the king, the main decision maker, right? The grand poobah, right? Number two, it's harder to get, the harder it is to get a hold of the decision maker. Usually it is the easier they are to close. In most cases, the gatekeeper is, is it the gatekeepers in an office are protecting the decision maker from themselves more than anything else. Uh, More than they are trying to keep you away. Really, they're trying to protect that decision maker from themselves. Okay, so everybody wants to know, how do I get in front of the gatekeeper? Well, the trick is here is to quit trying to get past the gatekeeper and get the gatekeeper on your side in order to get in front of the decision maker. So how do we do this? We got to act the part. Okay, act like a professional. Be considerate of the gatekeeper's position and purpose, and what they live for, what they work for. Okay, that person is committed to protecting the decision maker. And so you'll have a very small window of opportunity here on this call when speaking to the gatekeeper. As a result, your first impression must be a great one. Prove that you're not there to waste time. Be credible, be professional, look and act the part. Okay. Most importantly, when you get in front of that gatekeeper, you have to give them the confidence and the security that you will not be a waste of their time. You have to do some homework. Okay, knowledge, data, public relations. It's about having data. Okay, know what's important to the decision maker. Acknowledge to the gatekeeper that you understand how important the gatekeeper's job is. When you hit the gatekeeper, sound like you're the vice president, or owner of the company, equal in size to that you're trying to get in front of. If you're going to call T-Mobile, uh, I'm going to call them. If I'm going to call T-Mobile, I'm going to call them and I'm going to act like the president of Verizon Wireless, right? You'll either get through, or you're going to have to be professional in getting a yes from the gatekeeper. Many times you're going to have to win the gatekeeper over and over in order to get in front of the decision maker. And that's just the way it works. Okay. Number three, kill the small talk until you need it. Okay. Small talk, talking interest in someone, being genuine and paying attention to that person and making them feel important is valuable. Find something genuine that you can sink your teeth into and really be interested in. Okay. People can tell when it's legit and when you're faking it. Okay. Assure the gatekeeper, the person in front of you, okay, that they're the most important person and you're not going to waste their time or the decision maker's time. Assure this person that getting in front of this person and you meeting them, that they had all to do with it. You're going to give them credit for everything. Okay. Make sure that the gatekeeper knows that they're important, right? And make sure that they're an influencer of the decision maker and that they're very, very valuable. Uh, and by the way, as important as a guy or gal, treat them as important as the decision maker, as important as the guy or gal who can sign the check. Okay. Here's the power greeting for the gatekeeper. Grant has developed a greeting that communicates to the gatekeeper that you are important and valuable, and it gives you a better chance of getting in to see the decision maker. Okay. It sounds like this. Hey, Crystal. Hey, this is Greg Nelson. Is John available? Notice you're using the gatekeeper's name. Announce yourself, not where you're calling from or not where you're calling from or who you're with. Use your first name only as if you know this person. So I messed up when I said, hey, this is Greg Nelson, right? Hey, Crystal, this is Greg. Is John available? And so use your first name as if, or use the first name as if you know this person, you're on common ground with them. As an example of the wrong way to make this call, hello, my name's Greg Nelson. I'm from XYZ Company. Is Mr. Smith in? That's not going to work because you have already identified yourself as a salesperson. Now, there's no problem with being a salesperson. And in fact, you should hold your head up high, as I already mentioned about being a sales professional, but it's a problem when you're trying to get past the gatekeeper because the gatekeepers automatically think that you're just another salesperson giving another pitch and going to waste the decision maker's time. Remember, it's not it's their job to stop people from wasting the decision maker's time. So I'll give you an example of a call that we started doing that Grant started doing in his real estate company. The team is calling Fortune 100 companies about real estate acquisitions, and here's how the pitch goes. Hey, Barry, this is Tyler from Grant Cardone's office. Grant met you and Bob at the CBRE conference, and he was so impressed with you, he asked me to call and schedule a time for him to interview Bob. Why does Grant want to interview Bob? To buy his property. But first, you have to get through the gatekeeper. Barry's not the decision maker. You have to demonstrate that it is worth their while, that they're not wasting the decision maker's time. The gatekeeper is not your problem, it's your opportunity. Okay. So think about it. Think about the keeper, how important they are, how important their role is. And by getting them on your side, and again, you may have to win him over again and again. So it may not happen on your first attempt, but just like everything we do when we follow up, right? It could take 5 to 12 attempts to break through the gatekeeper in order to get to the decision maker. Okay. When we're cold calling, there's a process to it. Okay. In this section, this next portion I'm going to talk to you about, we're going to talk to you about breaking apart the cold call because you need to really wrap your head around this. Okay. The purpose of the cold call, the primary purpose of the cold call is to close the deal, period. Beyond that, there are several secondary purposes. We need to identify who the decision maker is. Okay, who's the person who signs the check or who influences? Okay, who are the key players and the influencers? We need to determine what the wants and their needs are. What do they want? Why do they need it? What do they want, and why do they need it? Okay, so it may not be a company, maybe an individual, right? What have they done in the past that didn't work for them? Okay, what did they like most about what they're currently using, or what do they like least about what they're currently using? And create interest and urgency. Do this by setting hooks and using magic questions like how do I get an appointment? And how do I get an appointment that shows? Um, get referrals. Okay. If you can't sell it to this person or this organization, or even if you can, get additional names and numbers to add to your list as a secondary purpose to the phone call. Cold calling is an activity that's got multiple layers. Okay. You need to know cold calling well enough to keep the primary purpose front and center. But at the same time, you need to be moving through the secondary purpose. Uh, so let's go through the greeting. Okay. The truth is, most customers, most prospects, particularly on a cold call, have made a decision not to talk to you even before you picked up the phone. Okay. It's got nothing to do with you or your voice or how you said it. They've just made that decision. That's why when preparing for the cold call, we need to be focused on the 14% of people who can't wait to talk to somebody on the phone, not the 86% who want nothing to do with talking to anybody on the phone. Because that's the ratio, 86% of the people we call just are going to want nothing to do with us. In any kind of sales, remember, we swim through a sea of no's in order to get a hold of the yeses, right? If you knew the person on the phone was one of the 14% of the people who wanted to talk to you, how would you act? Would you be energetic or would you be lethargic? Okay. Would you be confident or would you be nervous? Would you sound like you're making a sales call? Or would you sound like you're living for something you love? Would you sound like it's your true driving purpose? You make the difference. Okay. Even if they hang up on you, you're going to be one of the one person that's going to make the difference by making another phone call. Here are three things you need to know to nail those first few seconds on the call. Uh, Number one, record a 20-second commercial. Who are you? Why are you calling? What are you going to do for me? What your product is, and what is it you want me to do about it? Practice until it's ingrained into every fiber of your body. For example, my company increases sales of your company by 15 to 20%. Are you the decision maker, or would there be somebody else I'd have to talk to? Okay. Uh, Deliver the greeting with enthusiasm. You need to be spectacular. You need to be on purpose. Show them you're on a mission and that you love your product, your company, and your service. You need to be positive even when they're not. And number three, know that you can't fail. Even if a prospect cusses you out, swears up, obscenities at you, or hangs up on you, or says never call back again, it's still impossible to fail. You can still win because you can cross that prospect off your list, and or you can call them back the next day. Whatever you want to do. Remember the math. Okay. Do the math, right? uh, if you want to be successful, never quit, and go into these calls knowing that you can win the deal. Number three is the big claim. Okay, you've heard about the saying, under promising and over delivering. Uh, Here you want to over promise, and you want to over promise because you're going to over deliver. That's what you want to set as your big giant claim on your product or your service. Okay. For instance, with sales training, we could say that we're going to get you a 50% increase in sales in the first 15 days at no cost to you. I need to get their attention first. You don't tell your prospect what you can do. Actually underselling and is being disloyal to your company, yourself, and your product line. So here are some keys for the big claim. Number one, be honest. Take a good, honest look at all the great stuff you do, the incredible successes that other customers have had using your product or service. Number two, don't bother talking about average results, competitive results, or comparative, or how you're similar to another company. Who are you to determine if your client will get an average or a good result? Okay, your job is to put it out there. Always assume your client will perform. Be confident. Number three is be confident that you can deliver on what you can say. Okay, conviction is the key to the delivery. The fact that you believe it could actually cause the customer to actually make it happen. Make your big claim, set your big giant hooks, look at your product and service, and come up with 3 or 4 or 5 points that would cause somebody to think, "Gosh, I really need to pay attention to this guy or gal." Um, Again, on February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to go into all these phone selling strategies in depth. In fact, we're going to take the deep dive. We're going to go through the complete 10x sales, Grant Cardone's complete 10x sales professional course, Phone Sales Mastery. You're going to learn how to take an inbound sales call, how to take that call, whittle it down to where the customer sets an appointment, and then you're going to get the customer to lock in and confirm their own appointment. We're going to teach you how to do that. We're going to give you the script on how to make that call. We're going to teach you how to increase your appointment show rate, which will increase your closing rate, which will in turn increase your overall paycheck. And if we can get everybody to sell, just no matter if you're a brand new hire, if you're a green pea, whether you're an average producer, you're at that intermediate skill level, or maybe you've been at that average producer intermediate level for a really long time, or if you're a top producer, no matter which 3 of those buckets you fall into, our goal is to get everybody to sell 3 to 6 more units per month, because all across the board, if everybody can do that, that will just be a complete lifestyle change for everybody. And then you'll be able to set new and bigger targets and bigger goals, and go for even bigger money. Okay. So that's February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Look, hey, 10 years ago, I remember this day. I was walking into a sales meeting while looking at a paycheck. And I got to tell you, I opened up my paycheck as an average sales producer, and 76% of US Americans we're just average. We live paycheck to paycheck. So many of you can relate with what I'm about to tell you. But I opened up my paycheck and my face turned bright red. I slumped into my chair trying to hide. I was horrified. I was thinking of my kids. I was thinking about how I was going to keep the lights on and how I was going to keep my job. And then I got called out by the sales manager in front of the entire sales team to tell everybody how many sales I had out for the month, or more like didn't have. I was embarrassed. I was demotivated, and my performance for the rest of the weekend was shot. When I got home that evening, the icing on the cake was that my wife at the time had told me that our water had been turned off. So, look, it wasn't until I got a hold of Grant Cardone's material and really started studying it and implementing it, learning, taking what I learned and using it with the customer. Okay. And then recording my outcomes on that and just getting better and better and better, and constantly going through the material and training and training and training. Only then did my sales start to increase. And I know this could be the same for you. And look, just keep plugging in to everything that we're telling you. And if you need any help whatsoever, you can always reach out to me and my team at thehardknockstate.com. If you're curious about anything we do, you could always set up a free 15-minute sales strategy consultation call, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. Again, my name is Greg Nelson. This is The Hard Knock State. I thank you for tuning in, and hope to see you tomorrow.